Hello, this is Selena Marche of U Plus Happy. This week we have a U Plus Happy replay from last year with guest Forrest Job. This is one of my favorite episodes. I hope you enjoy. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Selena Marche, and this is U Plus Happy. Each week I bring you someone who challenges us to define happiness and success on their own terms with a dose of laughter. Remember to subscribe. It really helps the show, y'all. So please subscribe, share it with a friend, all that jazz. And you can follow follow me on Instagram at U Plus Happy. This week we have Forrest Job, soldier turned artist, and he is also the author of Red Leg Volume 2, narrated by Forrest Job. Welcome to the show.
Yo, thank you for having me.
Yay. We're holding the mics this week. If you watch the show regularly, you know I don't usually hold the mic, but here it is. All right, we'll jump in. How did you get started?
Where do you gotta ask you? Like, that's a loaded question. Like,
I know. So let's start at Soldier, because I had the privilege of hearing you at a networking event speak about a little bit about that and the book. And then that's when I was excited to have you on the show.
Cool.
So yeah, if you want to talk about how that started.
I appreciate that. And shout out to Coalition of Artists. They gave me the opportunity to read from that, because they usually do screenplays and scripts. And I was like, let's try something different. And I was like, let me put this book out. And I had been telling them I've been working on it for a while. But yeah, Sergeant Soldier. It's a crazy story. I enlisted in the Army in 2005, which was like a wild time in the world, because there was like 2 whole wars going on. And I actually, I did not want to join the Army at all. Like, it was something I really didn't want to do, because my dad, I'm like 3rd generation. Like, my dad was he served during like the Cold War, Desert Storm time. My grandfather, he served during Korea. I got a lot of military in my family, and I thought my life was going to go in a very corporate route, because even though my dad was a laborer, my mom, she's an accountant. So she thought like she was kind of trying to mold me into that corporate person, because her being an accountant, she being a CPA, like all she used to see in the office, the only black dudes she saw in the office were the janitors. And she knew that, my life, you see your kids, you be like, all right, I want more for you. And then, so actually it's crazy, because I interned at Arthur Anderson, which was an accounting firm at the time, and they got caught up in the whole Enron scandal. I flunked out of school before then, but their offices, they rebranded it Accenture. Their office is right downtown Atlanta. So it's crazy how like things come around full circle. But I went away to school, University of Missouri Columbia. I had way too much freedom. And then so I flunked out after my first semester. Like, grades were horrible. I think the only class I passed was like freshman seminar. Just way too much time on my hands. I used to like skip class just to download music off of Napster. And so came back home, and then my mom was still trying to put the clamps on me and stuff. And then my dad, he just followed suit. But that came a lot from like, I was raised in a very fear-based household from the things my dad experienced, and my mom, she saw my uncle, he passed away when I was like 5 in a car accident. So like a lot of that fear. And so I was all like, I rebelled. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm getting up out of here. So I ended up getting caught up with my kid's mom, my ex-wife or whatever. And then, so we got married to like literally like 9/11 happened on a Tuesday. I got married the following day on that Wednesday, the 12th. Got arrested for trying to run from the cops that Thursday.
Why were you running from the cops?
Because I was young. I was 19, and then I was speeding, and I didn't want to get a ticket. So at 19, you don't think like you feel like invincible. You're like, I can get away from this motherfucker. And so
you didn't.
No. Okay. I tried to duck off into a subdivision I really didn't know. And then I came back out, and he was waiting for me, like some classic dumbass 19-year-old shit. But I'm glad that like I look back on that time, and I'm like, damn, I really should have, after you look at history and see how, I was like, damn, because the cop was being he was doing too much where I thought, because I'm 19, I'm scared. He was like, why the fuck you run? I'm like, you didn't have an answer, and just yanked me out the car and shit. So, but then that following Monday, I got fired from my job, and I've got like, I know it was a lie. Like
you had Murphy's Law going on.
Yeah, literally, like that was the wildest. Like,
why'd you get fired?
because I was working. I was working at City Mortgage at the time,
Okay.
and I was help processing mortgages, but nobody. I once again, I'm 19. I'm at a place I really don't like. I didn't know who the fuck I was,
Right.
and then nobody really sat down and taught me like everything on the ropes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned the civilian jobs like it's almost pretty much you're on your own. Like they'll give you a basic training and
Mm-hmm.
then yada yada, and then it's for you to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know if you don't, you got to kind of go through something to know the questions to ask. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, and so I was fucking shit up. I end up got removed by the boss, and then I thought that they were just gonna move me to another department,
Mm-hmm.
but that boss ended up calling down. I was like, nah. So I literally drove up to work. They was like, you're fired, and then I ended up going back home, and I got a new kid on the way, and I'm supposed to be moving into this new apartment with my kid's mom, and like I didn't tell my parents I got married, so I ended up
Okay.
literally leaving a note to like I left a note, and I was all like, "Yo, this is it's time for me. I got married and stuff." And then I respect my father at the time. He's passed away 2 years ago, but he at the time he was all like, "Yo, you're a man now. Like you need to go be with your wife."
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of the most like you look at your pops, you're like, "Damn, you're a real ass nigga."
Right.
Um, for respecting that turn. And then this life was like I was all like, because I grew up in a Christian home, and one of the things my dad always told me is like when you're in your parents' home, you get this covering. Like you got this covering. It's like once you leave that, it's like all hell breaks loose. And I didn't understand at the time, but I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh shit. And like literally, I'm with my kid's mom. We have my son in 2002. Yeah, and it's all like I ended up fortunately enough I ended up finding a job at the local hospital and was working there, and it's like one of them things where I'm all like I'm not like I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life, but I know this ain't it. Like
Right.
then of course not really knowing about family planning. I end up having my daughter 17 months later, so I got like a wife, two kids, trying to raise them on like $9 an hour at the time, and so and then also to the point where like I'm with this woman, but I don't know myself. No, I don't know her. For real like that. Like as you should know somebody before you get married. And then on top of that, I've still got all this trauma from coming up in my childhood. She's got all her trauma, and then the two of us, like we're both the oldest children, and like so we butted heads. And a lot of those, and this is why I felt the need to talk about it in the book. There was like a lot of domestic violence in the home, like a lot, like just um I don't try to downplay it, but I do believe there are like levels to domestic violence. You do got the ones, the crazy motherfuckers that come home and smack they fucking woman around, which is all like damn dog, like it's fucked up. But then also you have the ones where in my case where it's like a lot of life and I didn't have no outlet. And then so arguments when you don't have any de-escalation or mediation skills that we didn't have, like them arguments start turning into freaking fights. And you're like, and nobody like if I, me now would go back to me then and be like, yo, bro, just it ain't even that serious. Walk away, breathe, all them things you learn later in life. So there was a lot of fights in front of my kids that I'm definitely not proud of, and still, I've forgiven myself a lot for that
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but at the same time, like my kids had to see the ugliest parts of me, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of therapy that I've had to go through, a lot of self therapy, so it's still a healing process. So it's learning, and then let me see, so.
Well, before you go,
Yeah, because I can give a lot in this
no,
short amount of
no,
time.
you
Yeah.
can, and I like to hear you talk. But I wanted to ask about how do you face yourself when you like, because that sounds like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a little bit of shame at some point
Mm,
for how the domestic violence thing, and just looking at yourself and facing yourself and forgiving yourself,
mm-hmm.
and then changing those behaviors and those, I guess, like your default. So how do you do that?
At first it was shame, but then I had to learn to let go of shame. Like I
Okay.
watched this great documentary about an artist, Dash Snow, Moments Like This Never Last, and he was just talking about living his life without shame. And I was all like, it was like a breakthrough moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I was all like, oh, and I thought about it, like black people, we worry about so much shame, like in life. I don't do this, do that, and I was all like, it was a very freeing moment, and that's when I was able to have the healing breakthroughs of going like looking. I was like, I had to do that. Like I had to go through all those things, do what I did, as ugly as they were, for me to get to the point where I can go out and talk to young men or men and even couples or whatever. And even with women, I'm like, yo, y'all be saying some shit that make a nigga want to fucking, not saying it's right, but we men, like our vocabulary is very simple. Like I would say, men communicate in basic math, whereas women communicate in like calculus. And so I had to learn a lot about that and be like, yo, this is how, like, even had an incident last night with some neighbors where I felt myself like getting angry, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna walk away. Right. I'm gonna, I'm gonna take this energy and put it towards something good. Whereas I didn't learn that, right, early on.
And that's an important point. It doesn't necessarily go away, right? It's just what you do with it. And I think that's the misconception. Like, oh, if you healed or you got past this, that those things are not going to come up. That's not true. I know that for sure. But how did you feel when you looked at yourself and like confronted yourself? Because I don't know if you've ever done this, but I know for me, if I've done something that I'm not proud of, sometimes I can make excuses for myself or make it, minimize it in my mind to comfort myself, to make it seem like it's not as bad. But how do you say, no, it is that bad and I did do that? How do you own it and like confront yourself?
I just be like, yo, shit, nigga, just don't do that shit again. Or I just kind of like at the same time, I be like, I did that, but I've had to come up with these rules for myself so I won't go crazy because I can think like a motherfucker. So I literally every day before I go to bed, I'm like, all right, did I practice gratitude every day? Did I not intentionally hurt anybody? Did I not do anything risk losing my freedom? And if I got through those three things, I'm like, all right, shit, it was a win. Right. Like, whatever happened throughout the day, it was like it was supposed to happen. So that's how I'm able to like even look back at myself and be like, all right, like I can't even talk to my old self like it's gonna be okay. Like you just got to keep on just walking the walk. So yeah, I look back at that old person and it's all like, damn, it's hard because it's like you're supposed to feel cringy when you look at older versions, but then it's like you learn so many lessons when you're like, all right, bam, that's where I was in my life.
Yeah, and any looking at it without judgment, right? Like it's less about that and look at the growth. Because I would say even this is something might not make sense, but stick with me. Even with like art, like I'll look at something I did 4 years ago and it looks like shit, but I'm like, but I'm proud of that because I'm glad that looks like shit to me. It shouldn't look good. It shouldn't be where I am now. Does that make sense? And so even as a human, as my character, I shouldn't be where I was 4 years ago. You know what I'm like? There should have been some evolution there with whatever you look back on. So it's like if you look back at that old self or those things that you did and you're not doing them now, it's like I don't know. I wouldn't say a proud moment, but it's like it takes away some of that. Like you were bad, you were wrong, judging yourself because that's not what it's about. When you reflect, reflection shouldn't be. I don't want to say shouldn't, but I don't take reflection as like this is a time to beat myself up. It's just a time to like. I think look at how far I've come and what I can work on. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I'll challenge you with this. I know people, even I know it's artists that look at shit, but I've like since having a dog, I look at shit totally different now. And even now, I like it's helping like look at it just looks different, and it's all like it's just more now we're just more evolved because I know it's not easy being an artist and so hard and stuff, but it's all like at the same time like just embrace like every single angle, part, nook, cranny, brown texture, all that stuff like that, and then go from there. So
when you say artists, what all do you do?
Shit, what don't I do? Now we start with the easy stuff. So photography, and then writing, and then painting, painters. So then digital art. Right now, the music has been taking a lot of my time. So I produce. I've actually got a couple of placements from a homie. He's finna put out a project. So produce.
Produce what?
Music.
Okay.
So
Okay.
do a little bit of A&R work here and there. And then I think that's as far as the arts. And I also teach yoga. And then I got a master's in social work, so I take the like the therapy stuff like that, and I just apply it to like the art. So
When you I know you used to do comedy, and if you
oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I used to do comedy, sing, and then I play guitar as well. Bam, there we go.
we got it.
Yeah.
Why'd you stop doing comedy?
Because I stopped loving it.
Okay.
I was getting, I think last year I went hard because I moved back in 2022 to focus on art.
Move back to Atlanta,
Moved
y'all.
back to Atlanta, yeah. And because I started out in Houston, was doing comedy there, and then it started getting mentally overwhelming because my mind would just get bombarded with ideas. Just every time I would like be on the phone, I was like, "Damn, it's an idea, it's a joke or something." And then I was like, I took a break, and then my dad died, so then a lot of life with that. And then once I got back to Atlanta, I was all like, "Shit, I gotta make it." So this music thing ain't gonna put me in front of the TV. I mean, in front of the people, because I thought that was gonna lead to like TV and shit like that. So I was like, I went hard for a year. I remember, I think it was like January 8th, 2023. I took my damn Uber thing and I like fucking threw it in the trash, and I'm gonna step out on faith and I'm gonna do fucking comedy full time. And that was cool until I started running to the gatekeepers and at the open mic level. And I was like, the fuck? And like it was the first time I got blackballed. It was like March 2023. This is back when I kind of cared a little bit what people thought, and I did a it was at a liberal space, and make sure okay, so um what happened was I ended up telling the trans joke because it was, and I didn't like, this is me still relearning Atlanta. I'm in East Atlanta Village, knowing what I know now, or to approach it a little bit different. Probably still told the same joke because that's how it be. But I literally, it was the East Atlanta type, if anybody knows the area, and there was some man bashing going on before me. So I'm all like, how being the man that I am, like, how can I counteract this? And it was like it was a woman behind me. It was a trans woman behind me, and she looked like Caitlyn Jenner to me. And I'm all like, okay, bam, I got it. So I saw the joke because the dude before me, he was talking about history and stuff like that, and I just went into like, haha, how white people love joking about history, and he was talking about tweets from the past. So I was like, I got a tweet from the past, it's like 18 something, and I was like, I hope they don't sell my family. And then I was like, the black woman in the crowd, she got it. And she was laughing. I was like, I'm going to need you later. Not knowing that I would need her later. But, and I was like going into, I was like, hey, you move back to Atlanta. I noticed we got a lot of, celebrities around here. Well, I didn't know we had a celebrity in the house today. And I looked right over at her. And I was like, hey, it's Caitlyn Jenner. And me not knowing that, like, Caitlyn Jenner is like the Clarence Thomas of trans people.
What does that mean? Sorry.
What?
What is Caitlyn Jenner of trans people?
Because, like, you know how fucking, like, Clarence Thomas are not like us?
Okay.
Like the whole, that kind of how we have blacks, but then we have like the Uncle Ruckus,
right.
that type. That's their Uncle Ruckus.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. Because Caitlyn Jenner is not for trans rights. She doesn't believe that she believes that she still thinks in the binary where like women should be in women's bathrooms, men should be in men's bathrooms, and trans women should not be allowed to go into women's bathrooms. Like, you should go in the bathroom that you were assigned at birth. She doesn't believe in trans women competing in in women's sports.
Okay.
Like, I learned a lot. I did a lot of homework after. I was like, damn, okay. And then I was further along in the joke. I was just talking about how I noticed that while I was on TikTok, there was a civil war amongst the vaginas, like cis women versus trans women over who has the right to womanhood. And I was just kind of going from the angle of like, we're all people, like treat people like people. And then I kind of brought up like how like I could understand how people don't like trans men, because it's like when you're on the TikToks, I'm like taking everything I see already in the world and applying to the joke. And I was kind of talking about how, they sound like they're going through puberty. And I was like, I remember, that. And then, so it was quiet as fucking there. And I get done and I feel awkward and I leave, and then I come back the following week. And then the young lady is all like, I kind of played the scene. I was all like, I went to go put my name over there, and she was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Forrest." And so I need to talk to you in the back, like, it's like fucking like the principal or some shit.
Right.
And I knew where it was going. And she was like, "You can't be talking, scan, calling trans women Cambridge." I was like, "This is comedy. Like, y'all don't have rules, and I know y'all can't. Like, I'm not a dumb nigga, man. This is you can pull that on whatever. I'm like, y'all don't have rules because y'all know that's against the first. Like, I can take this, if I had the, the pool and access. But once again, I was like, this white woman might call the cops on me. I don't feel like dealing with them today. So I was like, you know what? I'm out. So that went by. I already knew. I was like, I ain't coming back here again. And so then I end up going to another spot that's down the street. No. Yeah, down the street, and the host of that one, he was like, "Well, I heard about what happened there. You just gotta be, just be cool here." And I was like, and so I was like, you know what? For the sake of like, I'm trying to make it in this thing. I was like, fine, but my comedy was going to shit because I had to once again be mindful of what this dude was saying. And so then that went by, and then a few weeks later, I'm in a black location, and this one of the ladies that had blackballed me, I didn't know it was her at the time. It was a different woman. And then so I'm going into this, this rant or whatever, and I talk a joke about how I believe my conspiracy theory is like really Kelsey is the one that shot Meg Thee Stallion, not Tory, because women can shoot each other over the same dick, and it's like it's a laughing moment. And then I go into the whole incident with that, and she's like, "That's why. That's the reason why you got blackballed." And I was like, "It's you? You did this? You exposed yourself?" And like I was like dog, like my dude I went to war with, like, is a trans woman now. Like, if you think about it, I'm on your side. But and then she's like, she couldn't beat me in an argument, so she ended up walking out of there. And then that led to I was in the comedy Discord, and somebody in there put, "Be on the lookout for Forrest because he's making people feel unsafe." And I was like, to me in my head, I was like, "Now you're endangering me because I don't know who is trying to, one of those as a black person." I'm all like, who, it's like, what the fuck? And I was like, it just turned into a whole thing. And then the last straw for me was I was at another black place, and I had told a sexual assault joke. Because in my world, going to war, coming back, the whole world's funny to me. Like, I find funny shit. And so it was a white woman that came after me. She did her thing, and then the following week, I went up there, and I was supposed to do an interview with somebody up there, and he was all like, the owner, he was like, "Yeah, this white woman complained." Then the host, he was all like, "Yeah, the people that ran." I got two conflicting stories of the people that ran the place were telling him that I couldn't come back, and I was all like, "You're letting a white person come into a black space and dictating what y'all." And I was like, you know what? For my peace of mind, and so I don't end up like strangling a lot of y'all, I'm gonna walk away from this thing. Because one, I don't love stand up comedy. I never really watched comedy specials. Like, I'm just good at it. So I was all like, you know what? Since I don't love this thing, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm. Do you miss it?
Little parts. It's literally like being one of the best basketball players in the game, and then because it's very competitive. Like, it's a very like a lot of like it's a gladiator sport. I miss it, but I don't miss everything about that goes into it. Like, I would love to at some point maybe be like more of a like write for other people, be more of a comedy coach, and like, because there's a lot of people that have confidence issues. I'm like, no, you could do this. We'll come up work for stuff with them, and but actually getting up on there, because it's the reward is not the stuff I put, because I don't the stuff I put out I don't get in return, because it's a lot of I tell a lot of very it's a combination of doing dark intelligent comedy, and then on top of the fact that I'm a black dude with face tats, and that kind of it pulls out something different in people. Because I had one of these, I just people would say wild shit before. I was like, no, something about me just somehow gets. I've literally had, like, I remember I was in one spot, couple spots, couple black dudes wanted to come and try to fight me, stuff over, just stuff I've said. Like, I've talked about like drugs before. There was I guess I triggered a former addict. He was like getting all mad. He's like, you don't know about it. But I was like, bro, like chill out, man.
People, all right. I have a lot of thoughts about that, but I don't want to get myself canceled. So
you
I'm
good?
gonna
Yeah,
no, no.
I don't want to. I'm being very just for.
No,
Yeah, you good?
No, I believe in people saying whatever they want. I really do, even if it's like racist stuff, because not that I'm going to condone it, but I think you should be able to speak your mind. Not saying everything needs to be spoken, but if it's an intelligent thought and you really feel that, even if I disagree with you, I don't believe in shutting people down, but I still understand how the world works in the sense of you gotta give and take and know what you're going to stand on and what you're not.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm trying to make my show go up, so I gotta chill on
you
some
good.
things.
You good.
But no, you don't have to chill. I as the host
that's the thing that I would even say, because my fight, I was trying to take on this fight. I was trying to tell these other comedians, I'm like, yo, I'm fighting for you all to be up here, because if you can't say that, like, comedians are supposed to be the ones that report like what's going on in the world. They're supposed to be the ones that take on all that stuff like that. And I'm all like, and I'm trying to, like, maybe I'm a little too far ahead of the curve, but I'm seeing where things are going, and there's gonna be a point where you're gonna have to pay to be able to say what you want. It's gonna cost you. I think I posted something about speech costs, because they're shutting, because I end up finding I found the new racism, because Patrice O'Neal, my favorite comedian, he was talking about how racism, you can't prove it anymore. And I was like, I found it. And it's in liberalism. That's where the liberal is, like, they're shutting down people's speech, but then I'm also about who was allowed to talk as black people. And unfortunately, like, Mr. White Man, you got to take an L too, because you upheld these things, but this is where they're shutting down people's speech. If you're saying anything that doesn't align exactly with the liberal, like all that stuff like that. And to me, that's wrong, because one, I went and I think that's the hardest thing for me to even be back in America, because like me and the homies, like, we paid like some of the ultimate price for this. I say now, I used to say freedom, but now it's the illusion of freedom. Like, it's the illusion of free speech.
You fought for us to have these rights, and then they're not even here.
Yeah. Fought for the right to even fight over some bullshit, because.
But I think, I think as far as it is like, I don't want to use the wrong words, but like basically we all have to think the same, right? Not think the same, but have the same. When we speak, it needs to be all in alignment with one thing. And I think it really does us a disservice in the sense of not having different perspectives, not having thoughts, because my big thing is thinking for yourself, and it's kind of taking that away. If you can't even think for yourself and have your own viewpoints and analyze these things, it's like, I think that's a dangerous world when we all are like, think like this, and that's the only way, and that's the right way, and you can't have anything that disagrees with anybody. And it's like, what the fuck? That scares me, that we could be going down that path of not thinking.
It's very I don't know, at the same time I have grace for a lot of people, because then I feel like people live in their bubbles. Like, people live in their safe bubbles, and not so many, like, I was very blessed to have like come up in a family where my dad moved, like, we was in the army, so we moved around a lot. So I had to adjust everywhere I went, and I got to see so many things. And being in the army, going to different countries, and being in like a third world country, and then seeing, what this war machine would, and doesn't everybody have. I live a life of, almost, if you're familiar with Plato's allegory of the cave.
No.
Look that up. It's literally like, kind of summarize it. Like, people are in this cave, they're facing a wall, and all they see is the shadows was presented to them. And then you have the person that goes outside the cave, see the world for what it really is, and then tries to report back to the people, and are like, that ain't it. And then they try to attack that person. So once I saw that message, I was like, okay, it made me, because I was like, why the fuck? I'm like, do we see the same thing? Sometimes I have to ask people, like, all right, what's today? Are we on the same day? Is 2 plus 2 still 4? Like, just so I'm like, make sure I haven't gone off into like cuckoo land too far. But like, that's where where it is. And we're watching, like, I don't know if anybody's read the Bible. Like, there's this 1,000-year reign. I think we're flipping to where we have like a reign of like the masculine energy, and now it's reversing to the feminine energy. And that's when, like, it's gonna be kind of the women running things, and then like they're gonna be like, oh, what do we do? And we have AI here, and then my theory is like God's gonna save us from AI because it's gonna take over. But that's my little
no. But
random.
how's God gonna save us from AI?
Because AI, because like right now AI is like the cotton gin. Like we're gonna literally give our whole lives to like the AI to do anything. Because when it comes down to it, I understand women, y'all don't want to work. Y'all only work because y'all have to work.
Okay.
And so AI is making everybody's life easier because like you could literally like, how can I put it? You could literally everything can be automated. Like I can literally, I have my visions. Like I can literally automate everything. Everything you have to do, it's gonna you're probably even gonna be able to automate child rearing and stuff like that.
So if it goes that far, then how's God gonna save it?
Then it's gonna go to a point where like, oh, save me! Like AI is gonna take over some shit, and I don't know. It's just one of like many little scenarios I kind of play on my head, and he's like, oh, do. Here I come to save the day. And then y'all be good. So,
but wait, how's he gonna save it though?
I don't know.
He's just gonna save
it. Yeah,
That's
somehow. Yeah. Somehow, like we're gonna turn to like it's some literally some revelations type. I have to ask my grandma. She'll probably know better.
She'll know better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So back to my original question: how you got in the army? So way back in the conversation, but so you basically went to the military because one, this sounds like a little bit of I mean, it's kind of what you knew because your family, a bunch of people in your family had gone. Yeah. And then second, you kind of felt like you were in it was the only option at some point because you had the 2 kids, you were married, and these jobs weren't paying. So you didn't go to college before Army.
Yeah, I went to University of Missouri. I went to University of Missouri. You failed out. Flunked out. Okay. Tried to go to like community college, like after work. It was just too much. And then like I was working at the hospital, was trying to find a better job, and then it was a line of things that kind of added up to me going like working at the job, we end up getting evicted. So I'm couch surfing a year and a half. I'd applied to
who's couch surfing? Your whole family?
Yeah. I was couch surfing. It was me and like we got evicted. And so,
but who let you stay? 4 people stay out at the house.
We stayed at her mom's house, and it was already her sister, 2 of her sisters, and then 2 brothers at the house. And so we were staying in the basement, and then we had to leave because there was too many people in the house. So then we ended up staying with her cousin, like on the north side of St. Louis. Then like we were literally like we were staying in her extra room, like on the floor, on a mattress on the floor. You hear the mice, the roaches, and all that stuff. Our kids were staying in the living room. And then something happened and we got kicked out of there. I ended up calling my grandma. I was like, Grandma, we ain't got nowhere to go. And so I understand my grandma for a little while. She's hilarious. Like one time she had to go on a trip for like a week and she was like, y'all can't stay here while I'm gone. So I'm looking through the phone, the yellow pages, and like trying to find an extended stay. Stayed there for a week, all 4 of us in a king size bed, and then we come back, and then finally, I ended up getting another job at the med school, and so that paid more, and finally was enough to like be able to get a place. I think I got it off Craigslist because we had an eviction on the record, so had to go through those navigate
channels.
Yep, and then so I was at that time I had applied to the St. Louis Police Department to become a cop because back home in St. Louis, the only like ways to make a decent living was either you was in the streets, which I wasn't built for that. Right. Like even my cousin, he sold drugs, he was not going to let me do that. Or you were working a government gig, or like you were working in like the plant or whatever, Ford or whatever, and that wasn't working. So
you didn't have tattoos then?
I only had like on my arms, like there was like 4 of them at the most.
So you got the job paying more, but so you still went to the Army though?
Yeah, because there we go. So I was working there, and then I tried to work. I was working at UPS at night, so I was working from 12 to 8 at the med school, then working at UPS from 10 to 2. I'm literally like falling asleep as I'm driving home. So I was like, I can't do this no more. I quit UPS, and then I got fired from med school. Ended up having to go back to the old job. Then got the rejection letter from the police department, and that's when I was like, I'm done. Like I talked to my dad. He was like, well, you kind of want to do law enforcement? All right, well, you can always join the Army, do a military police. And so I was all like, I remember I called up the recruiting station, and I was like, yo, how long y'all gonna be open? They told me, and I went right in there. And yeah, I was like, I literally picked a job. It wasn't a military police because they wanted a 5-year commitment, and at the time I wasn't trying to do 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, what do y'all got? It's 4 years, and then they were handing out $20,000 bonuses, and $20,000 bonus for somebody ain't never seen that amount of money before and making like $9 an hour. That sounded like $1 million to me.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, shit. And they were like, we can get you out of here in like a week and a half.
So how long were you in the Army?
It's funny. I didn't want to do the 5-year enlistment, but then I ended up doing like 7 years.
7.
In like 3 years. Yeah, about 7 years.
And you went to how many countries did you go to?
I ended up going to, let me see. I went to, Kuwait, Iraq. Spent a weekend in Qatar. I don't know. I just went. So 3, and then I was stationed in Germany. So 4. Yeah, 4 countries outside the United States.
And you said you spoke about how it felt to be a black man outside of America. Can you talk about that?
Oh shit, can I? I had to. I was all like, I had to. Once again, I had to read the room. I know we had sisters in there. I was like, but nah. And a lot of this stuff you want to like watch Patrice O'Neal. He talks about this, but I literally felt like Superman or freaking like Shamu at SeaWorld. Mm-hmm. Like it's already like they already told us in basic training like you're a man in uniform. You aren't gonna get a lot thrown at you. But then you go over to Germany where they love like I see why a lot of them soldiers used to go to war and go to Europe and never come back because you get treated like a human. Like you're treated. How can I put it? Like it's almost like being a woman because all you got to do is show up. Mm. Like you just got to show up. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to have this, and that. You just show up, and then everything else is a bonus. And then they're like, all right, they love your skin, they love you. You can, your accent. They love like everything about your blackness. Whereas you come back to the States, and you're like, you're fighting for acceptance, like from your own people, because unfortunately, like especially with black folks, like you're reminding them of something probably negative, whereas they have no reference point over there in China. It's just fun. Like no matter how many of them dudes came over there and had babies and never claimed them jokers and had war babies, it's just it's fun. You're on a war baby, are you?
No, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, no, just it didn't matter. Like it was fun. Like we literally would go and you had your German young lady. I'm like, but it was we was over there. Went in Rome. It was easy access. We was partying. Like it was a rock star lifestyle pretty much.
No, I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. I've met other black men who said how they felt in different countries. I don't know if it was Germany. I don't remember which ones they talked about, but feeling that way. And I like feel that makes me feel happy because I can't imagine this, like how I'm not a man, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it feels to be a black man in this country, but it doesn't look great. And when I hear y'all describe it, it doesn't sound great. Mm. So to find a place that feels like you're treated well, I love black people. Yeah. So to hear a black man being treated great, that makes me feel excited. Yeah. So to hear you're like the third person I've heard say that. So I'm like, dang, this is really true.
Yeah. And I know we got like the whole passport bros things. Cause a lot of them I see, they'll down.
That's like, different.
Yeah. They're different. Yeah. Them be the ones that be like, oh, they'll be down in their own women and all that. And like, nah, I tell everybody, go where you were celebrated. Like, go where, because when it comes down to it, your mental health, your peace of mind, feeling like appreciated and accepted that's where you want to, like, I don't want to, every day shouldn't have to be a fight.
So will you leave America again?
I'm November. I'm out.
Where are you going?
I'm moving to Mexico.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, are we treated nice in Mexico? I've only been to the resorts.
I don't know. I just know I just need to get out of the United States, and then because I was in Mexico in April with this organization, Heroic Hearts. It was a psychedelic retreat for veterans. And so like they're like leading the fight for veterans to get psychedelic therapy. Mm-hmm. So I went down there.
When did you go?
In April.
Okay.
So I had a whole like psychedelic experience. And
go ahead.
Yeah, it was some high dosage level shrooms. I wasn't able to do the DMT because of a diagnosis I had, but it was I literally went through a whole like psychosis. I broke. It was like literally being in the Matrix, and it was like 10 years of therapy within the session of like two like couple hours.
I wanted to talk to you about your sobriety, but now I'm hearing you're Cali sober.
No, no, no. That's no. That's I am. That's medicine. This
Okay.
is no. There's sobriety to me is like I was on the whole like I used to mess with Xans, Coke, Molly, weed, like that dependency to like I gave up Molly like I forgot when it was, but I had like a seizure and I was like, all right, I need to leave shit alone. And then everything else, and then weed was getting to a point where it's dependency, where it's like I was literally smoking like a joint every like cigarettes, and then I had to give up alcohol because doing comedy I was like drinking way too much. But like I look at shrooms as medicine. Like I have like that experience. It made me have a respect for the medicine.
Right.
I don't just do it just to like all right, we're just going on a trip now. Like this is definitely for my healing. And then for the fact that I have years of freaking trauma. Like traditional therapy was cool, but I went to school for therapy, so I know every single trick that a
Right.
therapist is going.
Right.
I got to. So I was like, I need something that's a little bit more, and that's what they're using. Um, Psilocybin, like DMT. They're trying to use MDMA, which is Molly, for therapeutic purposes, but that's kind of the thing that they're doing for veterans.
I want to talk about sobriety, but before that, because I want to talk about something that you mentioned at COA because about being in the when you were in the army and the masculinity of it and like how you described it was I don't know how to describe how you described it, but it was very intriguing. And I also want to talk about it because I do think the pendulum swinging, right? So like there's like I don't want to say an attack on masculinity because that's kind of strong, but like because so much bad was wrapped up in masculinity, it's like we've lost respect for it, and that makes me there's like the balance isn't there yet, right? Because the pendulum is swinging so far to the other side, where I think there's a place, an important place for masculinity, and but not to the point where not the best, you know what I mean? But I like how you talked about it, and I have a and I want to. I can't make this happen, but I would love for us to have a rich like respect for masculinity, like the way that we do for femininity.
It's gonna be it's one of the things where like it's gonna be a pendulum, like it's gonna and I don't think of time I think of time like differently, like it's a lot of time but then it's not, because I even think like black folks we ain't been even free as long as we was enslaved, so we look at that that's the point, but it's gonna be a point where it's like all right, over masculine, and then we're gonna have to go to the over feminine, and then finally we'll come and be in the middle.
Right.
But then you have like old dinosaurs like me that came from a lot of even that, and I even look at like even my generation before me, where it's all like even when I was trying to talk to I was like trying to talk to my dad about like even when I was writing my book, I wanted to ask him about his military experience, and then I was like, oh shit, these niggas don't talk. Like they
Okay.
yeah, they were like even before then, like me and my dad, we eventually before he passed away, like when we went on a road trip with my brother, we were having to like have a lot of great conversations. I got to understand a lot more about him. But it's gonna be I think we're just gonna it's gonna have to get to a point where I think we need to learn our masculinity, like learn when a time and a place for it, and understand how to embrace all of who we are, because we got all it's like everything's on a spectrum. Like you're in utero, it's like some scientific stuff, you get a splash of like the chromosomes, whatever I can't think of them, but like you get a splash of masculinity, you get a splash of femininity. Some people have a little bit more than other. It also it comes from like nature, from those pieces, and also from nurture. Like I joke, like when I was like my mom was in the home, like she pretty much raised me until like stayed at home with me. My dad worked, and then there's a switch between me and my brother because my mom started working, so he didn't get baby. So he's like the baby didn't get baby. With me and my mom, like she used to have me watching freaking soap operas with her. So that's why I ain't got a problem. Like when I'm with a woman, I'm like, oh, let's watch Real Housewives. Like I don't like I can discuss that stuff like that. So it's once again it's understanding. We're getting to a point where we're like understanding more, and there needs to be. I feel like we're getting there, but like more discussions of what kind of what it means to be a human in general. So definitely what it means to be a man. That's why I'm like loving, like, you got shows like The Pivot where you're having football players talk about their fears. Like I heard Channing Crowder, I think it was, he was worried about the effects of football. And I love talking to football players because if you take veterans, football players, and then convicts in the same room, our stories are like eerily the same because it's the same like model. But even I worry about my own because I know I have like certain level like brain like I think it's like MTBI just from the IEDs, like the explosions, the concussions. I shot artillery, so like you have the two right there, and it's like it's just every time you shoot around recoils, the concussion, the vibrations are hitting into your brain. So like when I hear like football players talking about CTE and their symptoms, I'm like, oh shit, I have some of the same stuff. So even sometimes that worries about where I'm gonna be like 10 years down the line. So yeah, did I answer the question? I know I can like.
No, I mean, I don't know if I have really had a question. I just wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no. I even understanding like we're all the same. Like we're all the same. We just do things differently, and we have different perspectives. Because like the things that I hear women talk about, like fear and feeling like they have to do so much, and they want to be protected and security. I'm like, damn dog, we want the same shit.
That's that's the part where masculinity was. I hate using these overused words, toxic, toxic, but where it was not good for anybody, right? Because when it was like, oh, a man shouldn't like cry or have feelings, that he just goes to work and provide, like he's just a provider. But so now it's like, oh, we're learning, oh, men want to feel protected and like maybe emotionally it might be a different, because obviously not like physical, you know what I mean, like,
gotcha.
But learning those things, like, and then women embracing their femininity too, like, because it went like, oh, women were being more masculine too, because we felt like we had to. So learning those little things, like just like you said, just exploring it, and learning it's exciting to me, and I'm excited to understand more about masculinity. That's why I was talking to you about it and so intrigued, because I don't know anything about it.
No, it was funny too, even ask about like that kind of conquering spirit, because I was like, thought back, I was like, oh shit, I read 11 pages and I fucked 3 different women in the course of 11 pages, and old dude was kind of like, it was an interesting like back and forth, because like I guess he was talking about like sex being an addiction, and to me, I don't like I've been around sex addicts. Like I remember I had one of my classes in grad school. We had me and my homegirl. We went to one of them sexual compulsive anonymous meetings just for class or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like, oh shit. I think for me, I look at sex as very more of art. Like I'm creating with a person. I'm being vulnerable with this person. And then I think where I separated from an addiction is where I don't let it get in the way of like my day-to-day activities. Like to me, it's a release, keep it moving, and then go from there. But then at the time, during that time in my life where it was like conquering. Like it was literally like, how many can I knock off within the course of, I have in the book, I think the second one where I talk about me and one of my homies, we're like, all right, how many can we, like, we're in a competition. And that's probably when it was before I had that mindset of it being, something healthy. But
how old were you?
I joined the Army at 23.
So that's that. And then also you were, because you spoke about being in that like hyper masculinity part, where because everything has a duality to it, right? So it's like good sides and bad sides. I don't even think, because I've heard men do that before. Like, how many can you get? Even on The Wood. Have you seen The Wood? They didn't say how many to get. They're like, who can lose their virginity first? So this is not. This is just a it was like a sport almost.
Pretty much.
And I'm not saying I don't give a damn either way. But I don't like think of that as like, oh my god, that's so bad. If you were your age now doing that, I'd be like, all right, you need to grow up.
It's slow. It's slowed down like a lot. It's literally I say it's slow because I don't have a regular 9 to 5, and then I don't be lying no more. So I was like,
be lying no more.
Hey, you gotta sell something. Like you gotta,
Wait, you saying now it would take lying? What does it take?
It takes, you gotta. There's some you gotta play a part. Like
Okay.
if I'm selling you, like it's literally and that's another reason why I feel like I need to get up out of the United States now, because I feel like every single thing is like transactional. Like everything's like even when I moved back to Atlanta, it felt different because once again we got Hollywood here, we got a lot of business, and everybody's trying to make it, and it's like if you don't like have something, you can't benefit me now, then I gotta keep it moving. Whereas I come from like a social or helping, background, where it's like we learned that you know, investing in stuff on the front end and not necessarily getting that one for one direct return, it helps you on the back end. And even if you do things not even for anything in return, like just for the, common, I think even like we're having to work too hard for the basics. Like just even for simple things like kindness. Yeah, we're working too hard for like kindness, decency, like respect for like I'm not even getting to all the other thing of like, all right, we going out and then maybe we might fuck later. Like that's but even before we even get there, like, and I'm glad I've gotten to a point where I've gotten old enough to where I was like, oh shit, I'm appreciating women in my life for other things than just sex. I was like, oh my God, look at me maturing. Yeah, I was like, yeah, just having like, beneficial relationships where I was like, okay, I got a homegirl that she wants to do this, like with her business or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, well, I can take the social work degree. I know I can, like, all right, you want this? All right, here's a place you can go. You can holler at this person or this or whatever and help you out. But yeah, it's I don't know, maybe, and then too, I realized like I kind of I was very fortunate to have gone to grad school and been in social work to where I'm around a lot of women, so I hear a lot of conversations, and I be hearing about what niggas be doing. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, what's a non-transactional transaction? What's a non? So like, okay, are you referring to just everybody in general?
Just
Or you just talking
a
about
lot.
dating
Well, that yeah, in general, like across the
in
board,
general?
yeah. Even in especially in the art, in the music, it's like very. So I only be around like the artists I'm in. We're like we understand it's a marathon, and that we're not gonna do everything for like like if I help you out today, you don't necessarily gotta help me out tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm not even gonna expect. I'm not even gonna ask you. Be like later, like yo, you remember when I, bought the studio
Right.
time for you, and then come
Okay.
back like no, like I'm doing something. And then it's like if you think like
Non-transactional is I'm doing this because I want to, and that's
because
it.
I see the value in you, or one, I see that you need help, and then I know maybe I can offer something to help you out.
Okay. Are you good on time?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I'm
good.
okay. Just so we're not here all day, because I have so many questions, but I wanted to talk about addiction. So, do you consider yourself an addict?
Yes.
And what is your definition of an addict?
My like anything that's gonna fuck your money or your freedom or your life.
Okay.
Like that's right. That's where I
So,
consider it.
what
Or
does
your life is in health. Yeah.
because I think when people hear drugs, they right away say, "Oh, that's crazy." But like, do you think somebody can do coke and Molly and Xanax in a way that's not they're not addicts? Is that crazy?
I mean, I put that more in like the functional addiction type,
Functional. But what if
but
they did it like? What if they do it uh like 10 times a year at a party?
my question always is why. Like,
Why?
what's the why?
Hmm.
And then we kind of go from there because like drugs do have a different like impact on the brain.
So
I just know me where I was getting to a point of dependency.
what was the moment that you realized like I'm an addict and I gotta stop. I gotta get my this is something I need to think about this.
I was burnt. I used to be able to make an ounce of weed last like about 2 3 weeks, and then it got to a point where I was every 5 days I was hitting on my weed man, and I was like I had fucking crackhead behavior with the weed because I had got it down to I was like all right, you know what, just weed, alcohol, that's it. And there was one time where like two ATMs weren't working, so we went to the third ATM. Oh, this is crackhead behavior. So I was like, but then I finally I was like, you know what? I was like, I had a conversation with God. I was like, yo, because I know me, I'm not gonna voluntarily give this up. So I was like, give me, guys, show me a sign that I need to quit. And then sure enough, that week, my old mentee, he sent me this Facebook post where a nurse, because I told him, I was like, if they start putting fentanyl in the weed, I'll quit. And then so sure enough, my mentee sent me a post where a nurse had admitted somebody with that. And so, yeah, I used to mentorship program at a high school I worked at.
Okay, I was
and so, okay. And then just start like your algorithms. I would start seeing a bunch of people quitting. One of the rappers, Danny Brown, had just gone through rehab. And then I had met the porn star Tiana Trump at a yoga class, and we got on that topic. She said, "I quit cold turkey," and so I was like, "All right, shit." I ended up copping 2 more times, but
how long have you been sober?
Year and a half. I used to know the days, but
congratulations, first of all. Do you do meetings?
No, actually, let me tell you, I did just to add more tools to my tool bag. The VA has a substance abuse program.
Okay.
So I just did the online one, and we just like it just added more tools.
What does that mean, the online one?
It's like we just met virtually.
Virtually.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself, was alcohol part of the addiction?
Yeah.
And did you consider Coke and Molly and Xanax?
That was yeah, but it was like that was more of a recreational at the time.
Yeah.
And then too, also COVID kind of didn't help because I was like bored in the house. And then I'm like, all right, I got this Molly here. Let's go on a freaking adventure.
Were you by yourself doing the Molly?
A couple times now. I had my COVID boo staying with me. And so
yeah,
and then so like that was unhealthy too, because like I would have acid, and then I'm like, you want to go on this trip with me? So
and then your COVID boo would do acid too. I was asking because people hear obviously Coke and Molly and stuff. Those are obviously drugs, but the ones that are not talked about enough, I think, are alcohol and especially weed. Especially weed. Weed is having a moment, especially with it becoming legalized and all that. And then alcohol is so social. Like it's at every event, like everything, and it's a pregame thing, and it's so that's why because I've grown up around addicts. I grew up in Baltimore, so I know quite a few. And
shout out to The Wire.
I didn't grow up in The Wire, but I was adjacent. And I grew up around addicts, and I've wondered about myself with alcohol, like that like because it's like all this stuff starts off as fun, right? And then there becomes a moment where you're like, wait a minute. It takes years. Well, for me, like, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm not even saying I'm an addict, but I'm saying it was like, I'm not doing this for fun anymore. Yeah. I'm doing this to escape my problems. And I'm doing this I wouldn't even say I was ever dependent. I don't know. That's another conversation. But there was a time where it's like, this has moved from just a social fun thing to like, I'm doing this to not deal with whatever's happening. And then you add like you still going out, so it's now I'm escaping and it's recreation.
Yeah.
Does that make
I got you. Yeah.
So how did you, like, I know you said you stopped cold turkey. No, you copped 2 more times. After you quit.
And then once I saw like Tiana Trump, she quit. Then I smoked everything that day, and then I was all right. And what helped me was all like, I did like a 40-day thing on TikTok where I used that as my accountability partner. Like, hey, day 1 without weed, day 2, and it came. Okay. I finally got to 4. I was like, oh shit.
Do you smoke or like vapes or cigarettes or nothing?
Nope.
Did you ever smoke? You had to have smoked cigarettes.
Hell yeah. Army, I smoked cigarettes the first like year and a half, and then my chest started burning. I tried to run, and I was like, nah, I can't keep up with this. But like we definitely, it's funny now because like everybody vapes, so I occasionally miss the smell of cigarette smoke. But
I used to smoke cigarettes. I vape now, but
you ain't worried about popcorn lung?
I mean, I started. Let me tell you,
I say that like I don't drink like 2 Red Bulls a day. So
my coffee. Well, I read a lot about alcoholics, and I'm not an alcoholic, y'all. Wait, is this the first? Right. But I do enjoy reading about, I always enjoy reading about drugs, because like I said, I grew up around it. So I was gonna say I enjoy it, but I like those biographies. I like even on Reddit, I go on the forums and all that, but I've always been fascinated by it because I'm like, this thing took over your life, but it's supposed to be fun. I don't know, whatever. But I started smoking cigarettes when I was 11. So kind of like, so the fact that I don't smoke cigarettes anymore is a miracle in itself. And then now I vape like once a month, but I used to
Gotcha.
vape incessantly because
Mm,
I work from home, and
gotcha.
then
It's right there. Yeah.
so I and it doesn't stink. Your breath
Yeah.
doesn't stink. Your hair doesn't stink. With cigarettes, it was like you had to go outside.
Yeah.
It's cold. Your breath all funky. You
Yep.
gotta get some
Yep.
gum. But the thing with cigarettes was it was social.
Yeah.
Again,
Yep.
even at my jobs, you go outside, you smoke, you become cool with these people. They get smoking partners. So it had that element of that too, where vaping was like, this feels good. I'm drinking coffee all day,
Mm-hmm.
vaping. So it had all of those elements to it. But so how has the year and a half been?
Oh, it's been cool. I've been able to, like, I have to really deal with myself. Like anytime, like I used to smoke to pay a bill. I used to smoke after I paid the bill. I used to smoke like just literally
Yeah,
anything. It
yeah.
was all like, before I go on stage, when I get off stage.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, I'm like, oh snap, I'm angry. Why am I angry?
Mm-hmm.
Even the incident I had last night, I was like, well, first I was like, I'm glad that I got angry because I'm like, I'm human. Like I get to enjoy all these feelings. And so like, oh, sad when the seasons change. Oh, I'm feeling a little, I feel like I got my period.
Mm-hmm.
Without the
Mm-hmm.
and so, but then I'm able to take those things and I pour all that into the art. So my art
Mm-hmm.
has been very my art is like it's grown a lot. I've taken the time to like really improve my craft, and then that's another reason why like I gotta make this move because like freaking 5 hours, 6 hours on my days I'm fucking Ubering and shit because I gotta pay these extra bills
Mm-hmm.
on top of just keeping up with the the life. And then I'm like, you know what, I literally just want to like just focus on being an artist full time. And I'm glad that I'm able to do this because I think the most rewarding thing is just being able to kind of be an example because I respect I don't judge people for their vices or whatever. Get it how you live. I'm like I'm not finna judge anybody. There's a motherfucker that used to pop pills here and there, but I just kind of now if people like ask me, then I'll be like, all right, I kind of tell them this the reason. And I'm like you kind of like especially with artists like you don't need that to be a better artist. Like
Mm-hmm.
you already got gifts, like tone into that. So that's kind of been it's been a cool journey.
What do you do when you get urges?
I just enjoy them. Like I just be like I enjoy. I'm like, oh shit, it would be nice. But then I always think about how I feel afterwards. Like I would like if I smoke weed now, like I would feel like shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
would I have I don't know, it's weird. I smoke in my dreams sometimes. So
Damn.
in dreamland,
Damn.
yeah, I'll be like, but then I realize even in dream world, I'll be like, damn, you really fucked up all that. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't even like. It's just more of like a mental, but actually like a desire to do it. Like I think about the steps that it would take. It was like, oh shit, I would have to call. I don't even know how to fucking get a hold of a dealer anymore. Like, I would
Right.
have to. I mean, there's close by because I'm in art, but at the same time, there's a lot of steps, and I'm like, no,
Right.
I'm cool.
What do you do socially?
It's my art.
Well, like no.
Well,
So socially, if you're out and people are indulged, like we're doing
indulge.
this,
All right, go
that
ahead,
doesn't
get.
tempt you
Mm-mm.
at all.
No, at all. Like literally, I'm like we'll be in like we're in the studio and they passing around the joint. Like I'm just passing. I might have the most I have is like a contact, but I was like I'm good.
Do you,
I think
damn.
what it is the fact that everybody's doing it now,
Uh-huh.
and I am such a rebel.
You just want to not
Yeah,
do.
I want to like it's like to me like weed ain't even cool anymore.
Do you don't miss doing drugs
Mm-mm.
at all? Why am
No,
I trying to
I
force this
miss
on
no.
you?
I do like. I'm not gonna lie. I do miss the high of Molly. Boy, that was. But I don't like. I think it was a health thing too because, like, especially with alcohol too. Like, I started going to the doctor. I was like, "Hey, your liver enzymes is kind of going up. You might want to." And I was like, I made excuses for it, but then I was
Mhm.
like, "Nah, I'm fucking. I want to. I don't want to get to a point where I got a motherfucker wiping my ass because my body's all jacked up. That's why I gotta, eventually like the goal is to get all the way off of like caffeine, all that stuff like that. So I
Really?
can I
No
want
joy?
did my joy is I tell you my joy is from my new drug is art. Like my new drug is creating, especially making music from playing the music for other people, for all that. That is like I can literally I can be up all night creating. My joy is sex. When it does come around, because it's all like
you gotta start lying.
I can't. I be trying. I be wanting to. I be wanting to, but I'm like,
I'm
I
just
just
joking.
no. I kind of I be trying to tell people like the truth is way more entertaining than the lies you try to sell. Like every once in a while I do like I have my casual, but then it's like I'm like fucking 42. Like I be one like yo, can we cut? Because I be like during the day I'm like I'm busy, 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 but at night I'm all like damn, it would be nice to have somebody here, just like pillow talk, make love, and all that stuff like that. And then we do our thing during the day. But
well, if you were gonna lie, what would the lie be?
I don't know what lie has some. What's the last lie you were told? I'm telling you, if you ever, I'm telling you, fellas, if you're having a bad day, ask your homegirl about the lies and scams that the niggas try to run.
I had
and I'd say niggas because niggas is a universal term, but
no, I agree. I agree.
Even women too, because man, everybody the lies everybody be telling.
No, people do be lying, and I've lied before. Have I? Nothing egregious.
Yeah,
but I'm sure I have. I'm not perfect, but with when it comes to dating, I've been through a lot of really crazy stuff, and I'm talking like stuff where people should be in jail kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just choose to focus on the pot. Like I stay optimistic. I don't know how, but I because it's so easy to get bitter. It's so easy to get. And I'm not saying I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared to put myself out there, but I'm not. Maya Angelou said, "Have the courage to love again one more time and always one more time."
Gotcha.
And so, if I let all the stuff that's happened to me, like dictate how I'm gonna feel about the next person, then this is not what you asked me.
No,
if I replay, because I can't even remember the last lie, because if I keep replaying that, I think it's gonna perpetuate it. I'm gonna get upset, and then I'm gonna keep attracting that. And then I always go back to and I think about good men who I know in my life and who I respect, and remember that there are good men, and then also not good, but it's also how you behave, how somebody's gonna treat you. You are one person, but I'm sure you've treated different women different ways based on how they behave and how they carry themselves. So I'm not saying I'm responsible for all the shit that has gone down, but at the same time, what am I responsible for, and how am I presenting myself? What did I do to attract this? What can I do in the future to see quicker? Hey, buddy, something ain't right here. You gotta go and get rid of that person. Versus and then sometimes you accept stuff because you're lonely, and like you just put up with something because and you don't even realize it. It's like, well, this person is around. I got this rapport with them. We're cuddling.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little harder to walk away. But so I think, like you said about masculinity, is like exploring what you got going on for that. But yeah, I mean, of course, we're dating in a modern world.
And I'm not even going. I know there's going to be somebody comment on my bullshit. I don't I say I don't tell direct lies to direct questions. Now those kind of sometimes those things where I hear like, dang, I want her to leave. How can I? How can I frame this to not be
what
such
you about to do?
Yeah, how can I frame I do want to get to the point where I'm as close to the I kind of get I'm getting there because I'm like, yo, the last time I was like, yo, I gotta be up or something like that. Or
damn, right after you asked her to leave?
I didn't want to because it's hard.
I thought you wanted to cuddle.
Well, she wasn't somebody I wanted to really cuddle with. Yeah, those are the the little. That's where I'm trying to get to that point where I can literally be like, I just want you around for this, and then kind of so it's like I was like, and sometimes too, I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna be able to get the proper sleep that I want, down here or whatever, or this person's got to be up. I don't usually get up out of bed until 11. So the working ones she's gonna be up. I don't feel like dealing with that. Those are little things that I but then too I'm always I'm very mindful of I try not to be an asshole too much. It's a fine line that we have to basically I don't want no damn bull. Like I'm trying to do my best to live a pretty peaceful. I do like bullshit from time to time, but like I'm trying to still, and it's all we're all learning, but is I'm trying to navigate in the space of where I'm still because I still want to fuck again. So I'm
I don't want to fuck this up.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, so those are yeah. I gotta make sure I touch the bases. Motherfucker, he on that bullshit. Yeah, I still like I try to live a righteous life, but at the same time, I still need a little bit of because I'm a Gemini, so I need that level of chaos in my life still.
I think too is like I said, duality. Like doing all this good stuff and living this good life. I need
yeah.
I need some
it was
crazy
wild.
shit
It was funny. I remember I was in Savannah, and we was at this one spot. And it was funny because this woman she ended up like hitting the fuck out this dude in his arm, and that shit turned me on. And I was like, damn, reminds me of my ex-wife, man.
Good time.
Yeah, and I was all like, and I kind of like, I don't know, from neurodivergent shit, I kind of was like, hey, yo, I like that violence that you, and she was like, I'm good. I was like, are you good? I was like, oh, okay, cool. I got curved. I was like, yay. I was like, I got rejected. I was like, oh, snap. Like, it's just easy little things that I put because I want to, like, I want to feel like I've being in the army and going to war and you having to and being a man a lot of times you have to take these feelings and then you have to put them on the shelf and then when you get them again you don't know what to fucking deal with them. So I feel like if you microdose these small things when it gets to the big thing you're like, all right, I'm good. So
how do you get a little bit of chaos in your life in a way that's not gonna fuck up your life?
Oh shit, sometimes not minding my business. Like last night like there was literally it was a woman on one, it was a lesbian domestic violence situation, and it was hilarious.
That's not funny. I'm not laughing at that. That's Forrest.
It's me.
That's Forrest. That's not
it happens. Nobody want to talk about it, but literally I'm all like, and then of course me, I'm just coming fresh in the gym. I'm like, pumped up on testosterone and shit. And I hear because like there's been domestic violence situations in my hallway before, so I just go over there and then like I come over there and I kind of I'm like what's going on, and then the one young lady who was the abuser, she was like everything's fine, and then the young lady other was, I'm not okay, and I was all like, and I'm like, I told her, I was like, why are you lying? And we kind of exchange, and it was funny because when my one neighbor who's actually been putting his hands on this, they ain't done it in a while, but he kind of walked by, he was like, I don't want no parts of this, and then kind of like it was a clit versus dick competition. We had to, and I was like, I'm not gonna win this one because only thing I got in my freaking chamber is maybe to choke her out, and I was like, I'm not going to jail over. Like I told you at the thing, like 7 years in the army, and all you is trying to do is like eliminate the enemy. So you're like going through all these scenarios, and then you come back to, you know what? And I told the young lady, I was like, if she beats your ass again, then that's on you. So I've done my part. Like, cause I really didn't want the police over there, cause I don't. It's like, how can we? Like, and then of course I saw once again the whole alcohol thing. I'm like, both of them, and that's one thing I do like about being sober is I'm like very in the moment. Like I can't never be like, oh, I was drunk, shit like that. But those are the little small pieces of chaos. Like anything else, really, I don't. I don't live a life of like a lot of that too, because like I keep even in my every once in a while like an old fling. Like I think one told me, I don't want you using me in your art or shit like that. And I'm like, and yeah, I was like, woman, like you're an artist, I'm an artist. Like I just kind of let her have it. So I'm like,
well, if you date an artist, you will be used in the art.
Yeah,
and you gonna have to do that's part of it. So that's like, well, whatever. You should be honored that I even pulled you into this because this is sacred.
Yeah,
as an artist, this is sacred.
Yeah.
So you should be freaking honored that I put you in this.
Yeah, I think it was even with that, it was a part of her life that she hasn't worked through, and so kind of me talking about that is, but I kind of the way I use it, I kind of clumped it into a mass topic. But anybody that deals with me, they're gonna know how I feel about them, that's kind of the. Even with me, I would love to. My goal one day is to interview as many women as I dated and hear what was it like to be with like.
That's a little self-indulgent.
It is.
Yeah. Like, get over yourself. What do you want to talk to them about?
Because I would love to just hear it. Because I'm me. Like, the only version of me I get is how I like project. Like, I have to like imagine sometimes. Like, it would be very interesting. Like, it would be some like, damn, I was like that.
I'm thinking about calling my exes and like, how was it dating me? I wouldn't want to see them on the street. If I saw them on the street, I wouldn't know a thing. I just want to keep walking. I don't want to talk to them.
I think because I think people, I don't know. This is my perspective. Is all. I think people love living lives. Like, they always want to feel like everybody's the star in their own reality show. Mm-hmm. But I like the documentaries I love the best are the ones that like give you a wide range of picture. Like, I think a Basquiat doc I watched. You had one woman talking about how she had a great time with him, and you had another one was like, them eat some fucked up shit.
Right.
And that's how I want to hear like that mm-hmm. kind of, I don't want to live this like perfect life where everybody loves me. Like, I gotta have ops.
Yeah, we all got ops. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I have any ops, but there's a lot to think about. Like, what I don't care, because when I'm done, like, it's like you kind of this. It's like, you don't exist anymore to me. Okay. Not in a mean way. Like, I wish you the best, but I'm not really friends with my exes. I don't even think I could call them. I have to find them on Instagram or something. I'm like, hey, how was it dating me? They were like, it was a wonderful experience for them all, and they loved it.
Right.
It was the best experience of their lives. So I have my answer. But that is a lot to think about. I'm gonna think about. I wonder what they would say. They had. It was fun. That's what I can tell you for sure. when I quit, when I don't drink and I'm not vaping and stuff, I'll be like, oh, I need to do something bad. I miss doing bad stuff. Because when you drink or when you're doing drugs, usually some shenanigans goes on, and that's the part that I miss sometimes. Okay, I like the way it feels when I'm drinking, but more than that, sometimes I miss the spontaneity and like the crazy stuff that happens that you didn't plan for that night. The stuff that you get into, the party you might end up at, the people you meet, the best friends for the night. Like, and you say you live in LA, right? I live in LA.
So how like, without telling on yourself too much, how crazy did it get?
Well, LA got crazy, but when I lived in Philly, it was crazier.
Okay.
So we would end up in different states.
Okay, yeah, because it's
East Coast. So
I've been to Philly for the Roots picnic a couple times, and it's all like.
So we would end up in Jersey or Atlantic. Like, Atlantic City is in Jersey, but this wasn't like when Atlantic City was popping. Like, we would end up there a lot of crazy nights. But LA was a dark time. Okay. So Philly was fun. I was having fun. LA was I'm trying to escape the sadness. Okay. So it was more like I was doing shit to like not think about what was happening, but I was doing crazy stuff, and that's before like, I think having a purpose and meaning in my life, like the show and my art and getting back into acting. And
hold on real quick. Do we need to break this up? Because I know when I be okay. All right, I'm just making sure you get. What up? No. I'm just saying with the video, the editing.
Oh yeah. No. It'll be fine. But I forgot. I lose track of time. But anyways, sorry. The having purpose has been very helpful. Okay. In that, but when I didn't feel like I had purpose, I was doing anything because you don't have nothing to lose. Yeah. So when you feel like you don't have anything to lose, my personality, liking chaos and liking crazy stuff, like, it's like, oh well, I can do whatever, you know. And so, but now I have a lot to lose, and that's growing, and so now I have to navigate life in a different way. Yeah. So that gives me everything I need. So does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Is that okay? All right. Well, this went. Do you have any? I'll wrap us up. Do you have anything else to say before I do? I'll ask one more question before we wrap up.
I guess I should plug everything.
I'll do that. You good with
it? Okay. All right. Bet.
Oh, the whole point of the show is what the success means to you.
Man, success. Success. One, stay my ass out of prison. Hey, it's
Good. That's
I
good.
got I got yeah, I got a cousin doing time now. It's all like he got out just long enough to bury my uncle, my dad, and have a baby, and then right back in. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm fuck with Kamala. I got too many. I got too many. Man, I got too many like family members at dumb times. So I don't prosecution. I'm cool. Um, what was I supposed to say? Where was I going? Oh, success. I Financial freedom is definitely where I don't have to worry about money. It's like my favorite scene in Forrest Gump, like where he's like, we ain't got to worry about money no more.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, just kind of just being able to move how I want to move. That's like
Freedom.
freedom to move how I want to. Yeah, freedom pretty much in the day, and then also being able to show others how to be free.
Mm.
And then the big goal is just to be able to have a relationship with my kids and like where like not to where like I'm not trying to be dad because I was never really dad in the first place, but yo, your pops, we could talk. You learn more. You learn about me. The more you could learn about you. The more I could learn about y'all. The more, and then in a point where I can like make it so like whatever y'all need, I got y'all. So y'all don't have to make some of the moves I had to make because things were tight or shit like that. Or especially with my daughter, like well, my kids, but definitely my daughter, to where I ain't got no, no nigga trying to, sell you some dumb shit because whatever. I'm like, hey, baby girl, what you need? There you go. I got it for you. So
Okay.
that's success in my eyes.
That's success. You heard it here first, guys. What piece, and this will close out. And what piece of advice would you give to listeners if you had to give one piece
One
of
Piece.
advice?
I'll steal it from Miles Davis. It's one of my favorite quotes where he talks about like sometimes it takes a long time to sound like yourself. So pretty much like your goal is like figure out who you are minus like a lot of people are like I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm this. No, minus everything else. Like who are you? Like take that time to like write that down, like who you are. Like I did that in the exercise and I was like, oh Sam, I'm a healer, I'm a leader, and then a savage because I'll keep everything balanced. And
Mm-hmm.
so once you figure out who you are, then everything else will fall into place.
I love that. Does it change?
You are nah. You. I think I have this. I feel like you get like before you come to Earth, you get an assignment. Like you literally it's like you get a I don't know, it's just in how I kind of view things. You get a card, it's your assignment, it's who you are, it's what your assignment is while you're on Earth. And then, you kind of look up at God or the creator, whoever you believe to, and be like, damn, really this one can I trade it? You're like, nope, and it slaps you on the ass and like, good luck, homie. And you pop up, bam, whatever you are, whether you're a man, woman, a bird, like whatever your assignment is. That's
So your assignment was leadership,
yeah, lead,
healing,
yeah.
and savagery. Was
Yeah,
that a
because
word, savagery?
I mean, and it made more sense when I looked up like what my life path number was,
What's your
which
life
is
path
it's the
number?
one. Like
I
when I looked
forgot
at that, I
mine.
was all like, oh shit! It literally, like at almost every stage of my development upbringing, I've been a leader. So it's like, so I was like, oh shit, okay, all right, that's what I'm here for.
Okay. Okay. I thought I knew who I was. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go talk to myself today after this and
Yeah, and I
get
don't
some more
use all like I
answers.
just take bits and pieces from like I don't like the thing I do subscribe to is like I do believe in God and Jesus, came down and took the on for everybody because like and that kind of ties into my army service because when we went to war like we were ready to die for each other. It didn't matter who you were, who you prayed to, what you believed in, like what color you were, it didn't matter none of that. Like when shit hit the fan, like we was in that thing together. So it's like for me to have like a kind of a guide that keeps me balanced of like, oh, Jesus was like in the trap. He was like a social. He was, being around people that a lot of other people didn't want to be around and like, kind of teaching them and just how to live not a perfect life, but a righteous life that you can live with and like you're helping others. So kind of like that's one thing I roll with. But like I play around, like I know stuff about like astrology and numerology, little stuff here and there that I learned that I kind of a la carte my life. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. What's the meaning of life? And then we're done.
Oh, the shit. The meaning of life is to live, like literally, just live. Like don't let like fear or anything, or like bad like experiences stop you from living. So a lot of people are, oh, I've been through this or I've been through that, and this is why I'm not going to do it. Or a lot. I see a lot of people like, I know I deal with a lot of mental health stuff, and they're like, oh, because I'm like a borderline personality disorder, or they really live in mental health or their addiction. It's like, no, go out and live, learn new things, experience new things, talk to different people, be around different people. I think that was a kind of close it up. That was the reason why I was like, well, one, two, I used to move around a lot, but then I got to a point where, damn, I've got Atlanta, like United States, figured out. Like it's gotten too easy, and I don't want to like deal with a lot of things that's going to take me to run the rat race in Atlanta. So I was like, all right, let me make them even more of a challenge for myself. Move to a country I know only door to explore level of Spanish. I gotta like figure everything out as I go. So that's just I'm just living.
Okay. I had so many thoughts that they all crashed. And they all left. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It'll make sense. It'll make sense later. There
okay. No, it makes sense now. Yeah. I wanted to say more stuff, but it doesn't matter because we listen. This is a long episode, y'all. If you made it here this long, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, we got plug.
No, we will. I'm gonna close this out. So okay. Wait, before I close this out, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. You feel okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I'm good. All right. Thank you for. I'm gonna close this. Here we go, guys. Thank you, Forrest. Did I say your name right?
Forrest, yeah.
Forrest. I'm a mess today, y'all. All right. Thank you, Forrest, for sharing your time with me and inspiring listeners to redefine success for themselves. You can find out more about Forrest on.
Before I do gotta plug the homies, so I gotta plug the homies first. So the homie Himothy, so Himothy.him, that's HIMMITHY.HIMM. We worked on a song together. Listen, he's supposed to be dropping a project soon. Dope artist out of Savannah. I know I'm biased, but I only be around like dope artists and stuff like that. Then we got the comedy homie Earth, Black Box LOL, dope comedian. He's doing a lot of stuff. Shout out to Black Owl Tattoos, where I got a lot of my tattoos at. And then finally to me, oh snap, never mind. Also, my little brother, he's got a great podcast called To the Bible, where he just kind of like reads the Bible and gives a great perspective.
Does he have people on it?
Mm-hmm. No, he does. No, he's doing it himself. So, okay. But it's just a good one to listen. Eventually, that's the vision for it.
It's called To the Bible.
Chew the Bible. So like CHEW. The Bible.
Chew.
Yeah. So chewing on the Bible.
Yep. The Bible. Okay, I'll put that in the show notes.
That. And then with me, you can find me on Instagram. This MyForrest2, so MYFORREST, the number 2. Or you can go to my website where you find everything, which is forrestjob.com, and you'll find like my music, the books. I've got a couple web series on my YouTube. One I'm probably at the holler you about one, like figuring it out, where artists are just trying to figure just this art game out, and just go to the website and that'll be it. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else?
What's your YouTube?
It's Forrest Job. But yeah, if you just go to the website forrestjob.com, it's got literally everything that I'm doing on there.
Because people should be watching this on YouTube. So after you watch this, you could just go to his YouTube.
Yeah, go to that. Oh yeah, and then also I got the OnlyFans, so I do some art. Don't. Yes, I got.
Sir,
I do artistic. It's not just like everybody got one now. Damn it! Oh, pretty much a lot. Hey, gotta get these streams of income, but no, it's literally erotic. Like I take an art spin on eroticism, so I keep it like I take sex and I make it art. So,
all right, I will not be checking that out, but y'all check that
out. I gotta get these streams. I plug it all.
Y'all check that out if you want to. That's your business. No, but is it painting?
Not painting. It's other kind of. It's how I'm able to, because I got a gang of personalities in my head. Mm-hmm. So there's this very dominant version of me. Like a dominant artist, that I'm able to like take that and then give him an outlet. And so a lot of like power dynamics, dominance, submission, like BDSM stuff, and then also like art, and so so that's once again, that's why I kind of gotta get out of the United States so I can have more collaborators to kind of fulfill that vision. So it's not, and then also too, just not, because I feel like too, also with Black folks, like there's a lot of shame that comes with sex. Mm-hmm. So once again, kind of showing something like different.
Why? All right.
This could be the last. Yeah, we can.
I want to talk to you more. Why? All right. I can ask you more questions. That is true. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of trauma like behind it. Mm-hmm. Like fortunately, I had a joke one time where I talked about I missed out on my opportunity to get molested because my Cub Scout leader died before we got the uniforms. But there are so. Shout out to them. But no, it's a lot of. Shout out to them for not molesting. But I did, yeah. But I did have.
I'm glad you didn't get molested. Y'all, I might lose a few listeners.
Yeah, it happens. Literally, I used to be on stage. I used to ask, how many people got molested?
Did they raise their hands?
No, because they would be like, they'd be thrown off. And then I'd be like, well, 1 out of like 4, it says the number says at least somebody in this room. So
I've heard of, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it happened. Like, I've heard plenty of stories how like especially with guys, like the babysitter, like touched them or whatever, or made them do stuff. Me, even though we were around the same age, me and my babysitter's daughter, around 7, like was doing sexual things that I didn't know.
You didn't know what you were doing.
I didn't know what I was doing, but it happened.
But how did y'all know to do it?
That's the question. That was. I didn't know. She learned it from somewhere. Even after my after my dad passed, like my uncle, my dad, like their funerals were like 2 weeks apart. Mm-hmm. And so like I talked to my cousin. She was like, "Hey, your uncle, he was touching on me," but she forgave him, and it was like it's a lot of trauma rooted into it's crazy because like the first movie I ever remember seeing, I was too young for it, but The Color Purple. So like a lot of so it's like you got sex and trauma together. So there's times where even when like I've been with women and they had got raped before, what we did trigger them, and they're like, all right, going through a moment, and it's like, okay, fortunately enough, I have the wherewithal and training to be like, all right, we can stop. And then, what do you need in this moment? Like, do you need somebody to listen to? Do you need to like, it's like once again putting the horny aside, like, but like, what do you need in this moment? Like, it's like to kind of listen, and it's a lot. It's a lot of, even I learned a lot about myself. Like, it wasn't sexual trauma, but I went through physical abuse in the hands of discipline. So I learned a lot about myself, why I don't like being touched in certain situations and stuff like that. So it's like it takes you, once you get more in tune in your body, then you're allowed to like have a freedom in, like a lot of times, like even when women shut down, like I'm thinking like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? So I feel like we need to have those conversations to kind of learn each other and learn ourselves, because like you think about it, I know I came up school like the 80s, like even when we had the sex talk, it was boys over here, girls over there. I ain't know shit about a woman's period until I started like living with a woman. Like my mom, I ain't know about her. I ain't know about her mood swings. I ain't know about her hormones. I ain't know about birth control. It's like all these things that I had to learn that affects, like, even as I'm like, even after 40, like you learn, like even for men, like I didn't learn about freaking erectile dysfunction until I was working at a damn stressful ass job, and then all that stress, I'm like, it affects my sexual performance. So it's just a lot of things that you learn along the way. That like I'd love to talk about Levy when I did do it on stage, but I learned to do it other ways.
Talk about what?
Talk about sex, like on stage, and even the trauma and stuff like that. And then even with the OnlyFans, like I've seen like other forms. There's this cool poly couple, and so they kind of do things like with others. I'm like, oh snap, because that's why I kind of when I was listening to the Diddy stuff, I was like, oh snap.
Sorry, you can't be.
I was like, oh,
you're gonna get me canceled, and I don't even have.
I know. I'll say with that, I'm like,
you can't be Diddy.
No, you can't. You can't. You can't.
You want to start a prison?
You have to. You gotta be aware of your vices, and you gotta make sure. You gotta make sure everything is consensual, above board. Make sure you're not trafficking nobody, but at the same time, you need to be aware of, once again, like who you are and what you like.
I think, to your point, knowing what you like and knowing will keep you out of trouble. Because if you keep it, don't let it control you.
Yeah.
And let it get out of control and keep it not confined, that's not the right word, but you keep a hold on it, will keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
And you, anyways, because you get into some tricky situations.
Yeah, I mean, and also too, whatever you're into, there's somebody out here that will gladly comply.
Yeah.
It's just, once again, being honest with yourself and then being honest with the other partner. But hey, yo, I like this. Are you down? They could be like, oh, well, either you'll get like a no, or you might be like, oh, well, tell me more. So, or you might be like, oh, shit, I've done it. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah. It's not a conversation that people use. Like, I don't talk about that subject on my show, but I think is what you're saying is important about the communication. Just that simple thing of the communication about it. So the first step is knowing who you are and what you're willing to explore or whatever, and then communicating that with whoever. Not whoever, but
yeah.
I have a quick question about OnlyFans. Do you, if you have an OnlyFans account, like you put content on OnlyFans, can you see the other OnlyFans stuff for free?
No. You
still gotta pay.
You still gotta pay for the other.
So okay, so the poly couple you're watching, you pay.
Nah, they're fortunate, man. Like, we got so much access to porn now, but nah, they're on Twitter. So it's I think they're in South Africa. It's a white couple.
You watch them on Twitter?
Yeah, so it's a lot of Twitter is very. If I would have had access to this stuff when I was a teenager, I probably would have never left the room.
And that's the scary thing. Yeah. They're talking about how young men are having erectile dysfunction because they have access to porn.
Yeah, because you don't like my brain is developed enough to be like, all right, I know what's going on, and I know that, hey, I don't need to be on here for like hours on end. But yeah, but it's cool. It's cool seeing them, and I'm seeing more of like black couples engage in a different way of living, because it's been like, for the longest, and that was a lot of my issues in my relationships, is what I thought I had to be monogamous, but I am not. I think I brought it up before. I'm not a monogamous person. Like, half of me, I'm like monogamish. I could do a lot of monogamous stuff. I like the consistency and developing and building with one individual, but at the same time, I like to engage in some other stuff, and it's like it just takes, once again, a lot of conversation. So, yeah. But I'm like I said, I think just people just need to be down to explore like different ways of living. I'm seeing more of that. So,
and it's good that you know that instead of, and then you're not, that eliminates you hurting people too.
Yeah.
Because like you're making promises and taking on these responsibilities and obligations that are not realistic for you. Yeah. Because when you tell somebody that you love them or whatever, that's a responsibility to that person. And if you're not being transparent, then everybody loses, you know? Yeah. So I love that, like knowing that for yourself. So when you go into situations, you can tell that person what you can give them.
So that's my question. There we go. I got a question now. So what, because I see on every freaking app, pretty much, I see women is monogamy. It's all like, and I'm like, do you even know that they're different types? So what is your, like, are you a monogamous person?
Yeah.
So you're 100%. Like, what's your sign?
I'm a Cancer.
Cancer. Oh, my dad was a Cancer.
I'm a Scorpio rising.
Okay.
And a Pisces moon. Swimming a lot of water.
Gotcha. Yeah, mine is. I just learned this because somebody told me. Gemini is my sun. Yeah, I think
that's your sun.
And then Capricorn rising, and then I got a Scorpio moon, so I'm like double the petty.
What's what's the moon?
Capricorn. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah. Wait, what's a Cancer to you when you hear that?
No, I just think only my reference point is my dad. He was a Cancer. Yeah, so
there's something to explore with how women look at monogamy versus how men, because obviously I hear more men saying that they are not monogamous than women, but there also could be some society stuff in there because women are not supposed to be running around. You know?
Yeah, men are monogamous until it's time to watch your woman be with somebody else or have be. Like a lot of dudes, it's a toxic, going back to that catchword or whatever. I know I fell into that where it's like, oh, I can do whatever the fuck I want, but you, and it don't matter. And I know even it's like dudes say they're fine with their woman being with another woman, but it's all like, are you really? Like, are you really okay with her sharing her time with somebody else? Are you really okay with her telling you about, the experience that once again that takes another level of growth. I know for me, it's all like, as long as I know what's going on, like as long as we, as long as you ain't hiding shit, then I'm like, you can kind of tell me whatever.
That's the biggest thing. The lying and the hiding and the secrecy and the deception. And all those words probably mean the same thing, but y'all know what I'm saying. But I think, yeah, going back to the just being honest and transparent about what you want and what you need is important. While I say I'm monogamous, I respect what other people need, and definitely not judging or think. I think that's the biggest thing. People are like, no, because it's different than me, it's wrong, and I that approach is so unnecessary. It's like, all right, just do what you're gonna do, and if it doesn't align, that's okay. You go find somebody who it does align with. Does that make sense? Am I even talking about what am I? No, am I even talking about the same thing as you?
No, you get it. Like, just like, even there's different levels. Like, even with me, I think I was dating somebody, and she was like, well, I want two husbands. And I was like, well, I'm the star of the show.
You're the leader.
I'm the main act. I'm Mike. I'm Tito. I'm Jermaine. Like, I play all the instruments. I produce. Every once in a while I step back to play bass because I don't want to take on all. But then I was like, hold on, you can barely satisfy one nigga. So let's start. Listen. Can we, like? That's the thing. It's like, is everything. Even with that, I'm like, are you taking care of home first, and then once we get that, then we can.
I think what you said is important too. The monogamy part of, like, take away the sex part, the building with the person and that relationship, and getting to understand them and know them, and all those intimate parts that come outside of that. That's a lot of work. And I couldn't imagine doing that with more than one person.
Because I can't. Well, then too, it's like, but then also I kind of look at it as, sometimes I may not be able to give you everything that you might need or want or desire. And it's like, all right, as long as there's like hey, what do you get from this other situation? Like, what is the role that this person, because like, as we, like, even relationships, as we get older, like, I'm not like, it'd be stupid to, like, if you had a male friend of like years or whatever, I'd be like, it'd be kind of controlling about, hey, you gotta get rid of that nigga. Now, if you're in a relationship, you're like, all right, I'm choosing to kind of cut things back, and as long as like there's respectful and we know like the roles we play and stuff like that, it's just, once again, it's that sneaky shit that I don't fucking roll with.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Y'all lost my train of thought. I am not. My brain is foggy today, but that goes for anything. It's not just. It's not just. Everything's not about sex. Like, if that's all your relationships are, those are not relationships. Like, you know what I mean? Those are not real intimate relations. That's not something that I would want to be involved in. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, any kind of deception, any kind of lies, like, and it can go way there is so much more that goes into relationships than just those physical parts. Like, so any bullshit.
I treat my relationship like a business. I'd be kind of asking like, yo, what's gonna derail the what's gonna have the feds coming up in here and we got to shred papers? Like, oh damn, you ain't telling me why you ain't telling me you had like $100,000. It's other thing, credit card debt. Like, there's more. Like, there's these other parts of like, oh, you could have told me like you had this, or oh, what about the fact that, even in communication, like, how did you see your parents communicate? It's all these other parts of a relationship, but once again, it takes time of being with somebody and getting to know each other. It's like a lot of that stuff people are like afraid, they shy away from, but it's all, at some point it's gonna come up.
It's definitely gonna come up, but especially if y'all trying to build together and build these lives together, all of those conversations are important. I'm not saying like day one, but don't go on the first date like, I got $100,000 dead. All right, relax. I don't know you like that. but those all that's what I was saying earlier about deception and lies and stuff. There's more than just cheating. there's so much that can go wrong in a relationship that can rip it apart. So it's just way sex is like I don't know, not the easiest conversation. It's important, but it's not the only thing that can mess up your relationship. So
yeah, it's very. I like talking about because vulnerability is like the highest form of intimacy. Like that, those are the kind of those conversations that you get under the layers that like, okay, damn, that's making me desire you even more, and then that makes the physical intimacy like even better.
Right. That's why. Anyways, that's why I like monogamy, because you could just pour into that person and it just keeps evolving. And I don't have capacity to do that with multiple people. That's too much.
It's whatever. I feel like I'm trying to sell it, but no, I'm not selling it. No, I just totally kind of no. It's more of you got the capacity. What you got the capacity for, but I kind of even have people like look at it from like more of a wider lens, like than just because people think just monogamy, but then like people don't know about the other types of monogamy. Then also people think like relational monogamy, but at the same time, like I'm still sharing you with. I gotta share you with my job, your job. I gotta share you with your work. I gotta share you with like all these other things. So I may not you may not be cheating on me with another person, but you could be cheating on me with like your time and stuff like that. So I think when I think of monogamy too, I kind of throw it all into stuff like that. So versus because what's the difference between me being with another woman versus me playing Madden for hours on air? Like it's kind of almost the same. Well, it's similar. There's the physical year. There's other things, but still, it's that time piece. But yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I didn't think about it like that. No, there is a sharing that goes along with any relationship, but yeah, no. You always have to share your partner with their other obligations and other things that fulfill them. That's important. I would want my partner to have purpose and be, have. I don't want to be all you got.
Yeah, no.
You need to have a life.
That's too much. That's too much weight. Like, nah.
You better have a life. Don't be. No, that's important.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Right, well,
we're good.
I hope you have fun on your journey.
Cool.
All right, let me finish. I'm gonna close this out for real, y'all. It's been a long time. All right, here we go. Are we closing out, y'all? Finally. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Again, I ask that you subscribe to the U Plus Happy YouTube channel. It really does help. Like and share the episode, and you can follow me on Instagram at U Plus Happy. And finally, I ask the guests to say the tagline is long, which is, will you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I looked over and you were like, we'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Hold on. I gotta say.
Yeah, but you got it. We'll show you our.
So I gotta say, we'll show you
our definition of success if you show us yours.
Okay, I think I got it. All right, bam. So we'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Yes, we did it. We're finally done. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
No.
We did it.